Welcome back to Queers of Free Action. My name is Tara Wright. I'm your I said Tara instead of Tara. That's weird. Usually Grace says Tara, and I say Tara, but you've infected me. Anyway, that's my name. I'm not changing it, and we're not going back. That's just how the podcast is introed now. This is sort of a recap and sort of like discussion episode that we're going to do real quick. Listeners, if you don't want to listen to the recap, but you want to listen to the discussion, you can skip ahead to 20 minutes and 50 seconds. Editing Tara will put that in. And if this is your first time listening to the show, welcome. This is why we're doing this, so that you have a jumping on point. So let me introduce everyone around the virtual table here. Georgeanna is raising her hand, so she can go first.
That's not why I was raising my hand. I was raising my hand because I would like to really meet Editing Tara and see what she wants to put in so I can volunteer.
Okay. Would you...
Okay, I was like, wow, there's no reaction at all. There it is.
No, it took a moment. I'm in
Time
podcaster mode. I'm in time.
Oh, girl, tongue tied. It's okay. I like that. It adds texture.
I'm gonna eat my pizza. God.
It's adding something.
I will take care of intros, Tara. Eat your pizza.
Okay, go ahead.
Bingley. I am capable of tongue-tying our GM just by saying something cute at her. The person I'm good at flustering is Bates. Bates, say hello.
Hello.
Didn't even sound slightly flustered, so now I look like a liar. That's great. DJ, how are you doing?
Howdy. I'm Gray. I play JJ.
Great. Wait.
What?
So I am screwing up too.
CJ. Oh no!
Wait, CJ.
CJ, or did I heard JJ?
Yeah, I heard the reaction. I was like, crap! Did I have CJ's name wrong all this time?
Oh god!
All right,
this is a fucking train wreck. This. Oh boy!
All right, Georgeanna, you're fired. CJ, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm CJ. I play Sasha Spitfire, and welcome to our hot mess.
Yes. Oh my God. So we want to give a quick recap so that listeners have a jumping on point if they're just coming to our show for the first time. I'm going to try and do this around every 10 episodes or so. I think it'll be like a good time to check in with everyone, see how everyone's doing. But so we started like 13, 14 weeks ago at this point. God, it's amazing. With a couple of prologues. So what happened in the prologues? Who remembers what happened?
There was a festival/fair kind of thing.
That's episode 1. I'm talking about.
You're right.
Uh-huh.
Before that.
Before that.
Mm-hmm. It's weird because we recorded that stuff before we recorded the prologues, but we released them in the reverse order. So
I know, that's why it's messing us up.
Yeah, so prologue number 1 was Georgeanna arrives in town and Sym has...
That was a long way to go for some carrots.
Yes.
That was a lot of work for some carrots.
Sym ends up running into her at the Tin Street Market, and they stop a robbery together. Do you guys remember anything? Do you guys remember anything fun or interesting about the prologue episode that you want to talk about, or?
Unseen servants were a pain in the ass.
Yes.
There was a gnomish wizard who is a student at the university. Mm-hmm. A new student who came to town with me.
Yeah.
And he was helpful in stopping the robbery.
Yeah, he was. He shot like a magic missile or something.
I mentioned him so that listener can be like, oh wow, he was mentioned in the recap. He's clearly important. Now they will be waiting for him to reappear.
But
That's okay. I'm still waiting for him to reappear.
Yeah. Well...
Wasn't there that girl that got kicked out of the...
Oh yeah, the girl who was kicked out of or she wasn't kicked out of Madame Rose's, but she was kicked out of the country.
She got kicked out of the
region because of immigration.
Yes, so the very
magic college.
She was a warlock. She was a warlock instead of a wizard, and they found her.
So to give some clarity to like the 5 sentences that just happened at once. The very first scene of the show is Sym Patico discovering that his coworker Nithis is going to leave Madame Red's because she was expelled from the wizarding academy that she was taking classes at because they discovered she was a warlock because she was a shit wizard.
And Madame Red's being my place of employment.
Yes, Madame Red's is Sym's place of employment. So she was not local. She was from another country, and she was going back home, essentially. And that, so, a bed opened up at Madame Red's, which is, very convenient because the next day, Rose rolls into town. Rose and Sym have a meet cute while stopping some common criminals from using unseen servants to steal boxes of carrots from Rose's little farming town's caravan. And everything went wonderful for them from there. What about prologue number 2, JJ and Sasha?
Octopus!
Doc Ock of the Docks.
I'm gonna get that motherfucker someday.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
JJ and Sasha got into trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what I remember happening.
Everyone raise your hand if you're surprised.
Mm.
Good gag on an audio podcast.
JJ and Sasha live together, and I'm going to have everyone describe their characters, by the way, so new listeners can have a picture of the characters. But JJ and Sasha live together. They're best bros. They are currently not anything more than best bros, although everyone thinks they are, and they're oblivious to that subtext, and it's amazing. And JJ went and hung out with Sasha at Sasha's work, which is as a security guard. Sasha was doing an extra shift at the docks. The boat that he was guarding, a guy tried to rob the boat. This guy was wearing some mechanical arms that were actually very reminiscent of the mechanical arm on a wash tub that their apartment complex just bought. So that was a little world building that I did that was set up. Mm-hmm. Feel free to poke at that. But yeah, they stopped the boat from getting robbed, and you would think that at that point I would be done with using robbery as cheap plot points, but So do the two of you remember anything else from your prologue that you want to go through, or should we move on?
Nothing I can think of. I know that it was really fun, though. I will say I had a blast doing that.
Yeah, it was
just
a good
us
session.
being sweet bros.
Yeah, just being awesome bros. All right, so episode 1. The first sort of arc of episodes. Bates, you started to summarize them, so would you like to?
Sure, I suppose. And feel free, everyone, to jump in with, facts and figures and details, because my memory is shit.
Both of you to assume anyone else is any better.
Fair. Okay, so basically, we started off at a town city festival, I believe it was. Sym was there with a client.
On an out date.
Yes. We were on an out call date. The client was the assistant to one of the city councilmen, I do believe.
Mm-hmm. The assistant to City Councilman Alpert.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
And this is why Tara is GMing and not me.
Cute little gnome guy, right?
Well, if you spent a couple months making up a world, you would remember it too.
True.
I am not offended that you don't remember these things. It's why I'm here.
But Wendell, yes, I believe his name was Wendell.
His name was Wendell.
And he was adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Very idealistic. Was very, very much idealistic. And while Wendell and I were going about, JJ and Sasha were having a time on a stage.
Dance competition.
Mm-hmm.
Feel free to elaborate on said competition.
The stage was totally rigged. It was faulty as heck.
Totally faulty, bro. They did you dirty.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, you had some sweet
That's
moves
the
up
winner
there,
of the
bro.
dance competition.
Yeah.
Yes, JJ absolutely crushed the dance competition, took first place, and Sasha danced.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha's had better days.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything about them.
You too.
Yeah. Meanwhile, what was Rose doing?
I was helping run Temple's information booth, which mostly involves sex ed, and I worked with a young dwarf who was, getting ready to go further with his boyfriend than he had ever gone before.
Aww.
And that was just because you cut out. That was the Temple of the Seed Giver, who you kind of found shelter with for the first few days that you were in town. But so cute roleplay and all that. And then someone was about to speak. Someone who was very popular, like the crowd was getting excited. It was this guy named Rin Sharp, who everyone kind of knows is sort of a tech bro, but nobody really cared. So Sym's date kind of finished up. Sym and Rose went shopping because Rose had an interview at Madame Red's, and then Sym and Rose left.
And we got Rose a kick-ass pair of boots.
Yes, you did. Mm-hmm. And then you two left the festival, which, by the way, was for the 50th anniversary of the Armistice Day, the signing of the treaty between Imperia, which is where the game is set, and the Northlands, which has a name, but nobody who cares enough about the Northlands to learn it has showed up yet, or been asked. But yeah, so you two left the festival. JJ and Sasha left the festival, conveniently only like a minute behind. You guys all went to the red light district where you work, and as you were approaching the red light district, Rose and Sym got mugged, and JJ and Sasha... Well, they attempted. It was not very successful, and JJ and Sasha jumped in and helped to stop the mugging, and adopted a dog, and found a note in the pocket of one of the muggers that led to an intersection, which we'll get back to in a moment. After that, the next sort of series of episodes, who remembers what from it? Because there were a couple of really cool scenes, and we can talk about them really in any order. But this all took place on the same night. So festival, mugging, then the next series of scenes, all on Saturday night.
We got the dog. We got to keep the dog. The dog hung out with us at work. I do remember this.
Yeah, thank God our boss didn't have much to say about it,
Yeah.
We ended up naming the dog Narvi.
Narvi, yes. Yeah. Rose named it Narvi.
And then you guys got visited.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, so So JJ and Sasha showed up to work, said, "Hey boss, sorry we're late. We had to stop a mugging." And then, an hour later or so, a couple of tough guys show up at their work, claim to be cops, and interview them about the mugging.
Turns
they
out
know their names. Mm-hmm. It's Lucas and Alatar?
Elatar, yes.
Elatar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you remembered that.
Yeah.
One of them was a dragonborn, one of them was a human.
Yeah.
They said that they were detectives.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Sym had a nice night having a three-way with another client and another worker. What happened with Rose?
I had an interview that started well and then kind of didn't go well. Then had me go to...
Sorry, and this was an interview with Madame Red, who owns the brothel that Sym works at.
Mm-hmm. And she had me go to get a drink, then leave, and I did, but I stopped to use the facilities on my way out and met young man who was clearly in distress and ended up bonding with him enough that he let me examine him, and it turned out that he was pregnant and had been using a magical binder to hide his belly, and in doing so was sending his baby into an interdimensional pocket dimension, which we determined is not the best environment for babies that are still in utero.
No. So this was Callum, another worker at Madame Red's, and Rose's medical expertise and quick thinking not only helped Callum significantly and like stabilized him and prevented further pregnancy complications, but so impressed Madame Red that, she said, I was wrong to give you the brush off. We have an open room. You're more than welcome. If you want to work here, then, here you are. And so Rose got the job.
Wow.
Yay.
Meanwhile, everyone had sort of heard rumblings of other muggings happening in the red light district, and when they all met up at the sort of industry bar called the Small Hours after work, and this is a bar that caters specifically to like musicians and bartenders and other like people whose professions close down after, at the end of the night and need somewhere to go to blow off some steam. And also the sex workers in the red light district, because the Small Hours is like right on the edge of the red light district. And JJ tends bar there. So
second job.
So everyone sort of went to the Small Hours and heard a lot more rumblings about muggings in the red light district. And from there, they all sort of decided to go and check out the note from the thief's pocket that led to an intersection to see what's going on, because clearly something's going on. It's not just an isolated incident. So
I'll mention that my boss also mentioned that he knew something about the organization.
Yes,
that we were having issues with.
Yes, important note is that the owner of the Small Hours, when he heard the story of the mugging,
Goliath gentleman.
Yes, when he heard the mugging or the story of the mugging that the party went through, and he heard about Lucas and Elatar, the two toughs who showed up at the strip club to interview JJ and Sasha, he said, "Oh, those weren't cops. You probably want to avoid those guys." So, yeah, that'll be interesting to figure out later. And then the next sort of series of episodes is like episodes 6 through 9, so this will catch you up to current. The note ended up, or the address on the note ended up being Ale and Well Met, which is a tavern that serves northern food and caters to largely like an immigrant clientele. And in the back, so the party saw one of the guys that, was involved in the mugging. This was the next day, by the way. So everything that happened previously, all Saturday night. This is Sunday afternoon now. The party.
We've only done this for. This has only been 2 days for us.
This has only
Holy
been 2 days for us. Yeah. So the party sees one of the guys who was involved with the mugging, like in the kitchen of the restaurant, and they decide to like book it out of that restaurant as soon as possible, stake it out for a few hours until after closing, and then go back in, and they discovered a woman who seems to be part of a secret society who gave them some trouble. And who wants to talk about everything that happened then?
All I know is there were a whole lot of guys in that damn closet.
Rose was a badass.
Rose was a badass.
Absolutely.
And yes, there were a lot of guys in the walk-in, not freezer, because they don't have, like, compressors in this world. But, the walk-in.
Looks like we're really good about bringing people out of the closet.
So yeah, there was a big battle.
We knocked out a snake lady.
Sasha went down.
Oh fuck, that was scary.
Yep. The woman who I said previously like seemed to be running this secret society, she transformed into a snake. They punched her and then punched her a bunch more, and then they killed one of her bruisers, and she went down, and Sasha summoned an illusion of like the sound of reinforcements from outside the kitchen door, so everyone else booked it. All the other bad guys like booked it and ran away. And then the party spent some time talking about what to do with this unconscious snake lady who they still, I believe they were on the cusp of figuring out what to do next when we last left off, but that, listeners, should get you up to current. So, how are we feeling? How are we feeling about the game? I wanted to take a few minutes and just like check in with everyone, make sure everything's going well. Get any like notes or feedback you have, like from me or for each other, or just what can we do to like make this game even more awesome than it already is?
Well, we could start catering our recording sessions. I'm kidding.
I could cater the recording sessions, but you're also spread out. It would take forever to deliver the food, and then it would just be cold.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
part of the issue.
That's what DoorDash is for, dude.
I
Yeah.
know.
You can spread
the
me out
sessions
any
that
day,
we
though,
do in
so-
person.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
The sessions that we do in
got it.
person will be catered.
Sorry, what'd you say, Georgeanna?
I was saying I caught that to CJ because I wasn't sure at first if you had caught it, and I wanted them to know I heard them. It was appreciated.
Well,
Because you weren't talking to me.
I clearly didn't hear what happened.
Oh, I said, you can spread me out any day.
Oh.
Oh.
Excuse me while I fluster real quick. Okay. So like, is everyone having fun? Is like things generally going well so far?
I think we're about to get into the thick of it, so I think we can only go up from here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited.
Yeah. One of the sort of little notes that I have to check in with everyone on is if there are any self-critiques, and one that I have for myself is it took like 10 episodes to start the plot. It took me a little while. I had a little bit of setup to do. I had a little world building to do, but I think it was excessive. So.
But yeah, like of those 10 episodes, like 4 were pretty much all combat.
Yeah.
We also had some.
That's fair, actually.
Well, we have so going to the restaurant and then like staking the restaurant out was one episode. Mm-hmm. The start of the fight was another episode. Most of the rest of the fight was another episode, and then like Sasha going down to the tail end of the fight, and then the discussion afterwards, and like looting the room and all that was another episode. So yeah, I guess it was 4 episodes.
Well, and then don't forget the episode or split between 2 episodes, the combat from the mugging.
Yeah. That one honestly, like, that served 2 purposes. Like, one, obviously, was setting up the plot, because clearly there's, like, something going on with these muggings, but the other purpose of that was, like, okay, I haven't run a game in years, and I've never run a game in this system, so let me, like, make something that kind of looks easy on paper, and see how they handle it. So, like, the reason I felt more confident throwing out an enemy like the Snake Lady or some of the other more powerful enemies that we saw in this most recent combat was because I kind of got a sense of where you're at from that one. So
yeah, that was a good fight.
But yeah, it's the super difficult combat? Is that what we as a group want?
Yeah, how do we feel about that? Do we want more like tough, meaningful encounters, or do we,
I don't actually think that was particularly all that difficult of a battle, personally. I just think that we didn't, we probably could have done a little bit of a better planning for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tactically, we did not do well.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a first like real fight. But yeah, I like that. I think we could personally. I mean, editing is amazing and all, and this might not make it into the actual cut of the podcast because this is like a us note. But because myself personally, I'll call it a personal note actually, is I need to learn Roll20, and I could be a little faster on actually like doing my combat rolls and stuff.
Huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like this type of battle. This is what I think is fun.
Mm-hmm.
It is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying the everything about the game, to be honest.
Good.
From like general storyline to the combat, it's all been pretty fantastic, despite Sasha going down, but happens in D&D.
Mm-hmm.
Or, in life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say
a role play point, frankly.
Yeah.
I will say I need to stop saying like and being so stuttery in the recordings. I listened to those and I really wonder why I haven't just tossed my phone out my car window. Like
it is awkward listening to them to yourself. What about you, Georgeanna? You brought up, do we want this much combat? How are you feeling? Where are you at?
I enjoy the actual combat when I'm doing it. I'm just thinking like as a listener.
Okay.
I listen to our story heavy episodes. Sometimes I listen to them more than once. Combat heavy ones, I often fast forward. And granted, I'm a listener who knows how it ends, but I'm not sure if it's as interesting.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
I enjoy the playing of the combat.
Yeah. So
I guess it's like I like combat. I love the story bit.
Right.
I definitely have a preference.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm thinking we probably could do better with that if we all got a bit more descriptive with our actions.
Yes, that's a fantastic recommendation.
We
could role play. Oh, we could role play during combat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
There's also there's also just like, I don't think D&D combat is a spectator sport all that much. Like I was a couple months ago I was introduced to Dimension 20. I'm now a huge fan. Brennan Lee Mulligan is an incredible dungeon master. I love everything he's done except one season, but I won't name it because this is public and that's not fair. But this isn't my bully pulpit here. But I love pretty much everything they've done. There have been some combat episodes that I've just fully skipped. There's been some that I've fallen asleep on. And this is one of the best dungeon masters in the world. And one of the most entertaining. He's an improv comedian professionally for College Humor and has been playing Dungeons and Dragons since he was 4. There are very few people who do this better than he does. And still sometimes the combats just bore the hell out of me. So, I absolutely understand where you're coming from. There are things that we can do to make it more interesting, but at the end of the day, it just, D&D combat isn't as interesting as, the roleplay and the interplay between the characters and, the other stuff, And,
and unfortunately,
to
the
listen
combat...
to listen to, not to play.
To listen to, yeah. But, and unfortunately, in that aspect, when it comes to playing D&D, the combat is such an important part.
It is.
So it's not something that you can, just kind of hand wave and, okay, they're dead now.
Yeah. So it's my goal to make every encounter, and I have a few more planned, to make every encounter, big and meaningful to the story. There's no the closest to a random encounter I would say is the that first one, the mugging at the start, at the entrance to the red light district. That was the closest to an inconsequential combat that I'll have, and that got the plot going. So, I want every combat to mean something, to be a set piece, to there's a reason that this is in the story, whether it's setting something up or paying something off. It needs to be important.
Not just combat for combat's sake.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Save that for the personal gains.
I'm bored. I want to hit something. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you work at a place where if that's what you're feeling, you can probably find someone to pay you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, if you're ever in town and you need someone to beat you up, you know.
And down.
Yeah, pull your hair, slap you around a little bit, you know.
Ooh, baby.
So what other notes does anyone have? Like, is there anything else about like the game in general before we get into sort of the specific where do we go from here stuff?
I enjoy playing an asshole. I don't play a lot of asshole characters, and I'm really enjoying playing a guy who's like kind of just a petty little shit.
But like an oblivious petty little shit who has a heart of gold, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is a very delicate balance, and I will admit you are doing it extremely well.
Oh, thank you.
I love, honestly, personally, one of the things I love is I love the chemistry between JJ and Sasha.
Yeah.
It's because I secretly love CJ with all my heart.
They have
Absolutely.
ridiculous man crushes on each other, and it's great.
Yeah.
In character and out of character.
Kind of how like Rush is a little cold, you know, just a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember when I first introduced them, and then CJ's in my DMs like, holy fuck, where's this guy been all my life? I have a massive crush.
Okay, but did Gray not slide into your DMs like that too?
He did.
You could compare the timestamps. It's pretty funny.
And Tara's still eternally going,
Now kiss.
Speaking of which, Gray, at some point in time, I need to kidnap you because I haven't seen you in like the longest time, so that should be a thing. That being said, I feel like we need to, in some way, somehow throw a shout out to Left Hand Brewery, because while I was there, the bartender bought me and Zeke a round of drinks because I was talking to him about D&D, brought up our podcast. He said he's going to give it a listen, so
Anyway, so currently the characters are at a bit of an impasse, and I think y'all wanted to, like, sort of talk about it out of character, so I'm gonna turn it over to whoever wants to, like, talk over what's going on, so that we can figure out where to go from here.
I believe we pulled Snake Lady back over to the abandoned building, correct?
You haven't yet. I think that's the plan you settled on, but you haven't left there yet.
I wasn't even sure if we had settled on it because I have not yet listened to the last episode. Sorry.
Same.
Whoops.
That's okay.
I remembered it as like that was an option, but it felt to me like Ray's character, CJ, did not want us to do that and wanted us to take the Snake Lady to his boss, who added fun to the like conflict is at the time I forgot it was the Small Hours boss and thought it was the boss that we thought had kind of betrayed us, and I was confused about that too. I was like, we don't trust that guy. Why on earth would we get him involved?
I'll be honest with you, I was in that same boat.
Let me explain my line of thinking here. First of all, I don't think he's betrayed us. I think he was betrayed. I don't think he's a villain. I just think that he got fucked over.
The club owner, right? That we're
talking
he's
about
the bar owner, or not the bar.
The strip club. We're talking about Elias, the owner of bodies. Go ahead.
I think Elias got put in a rough situation. JJ trusts Elias. JJ thinks Elias got screwed over, and that if he didn't point these guys in our direction, that there would have been a lot more trouble than if he had said that we weren't there. I think we got sold out. Or like something happened and we got found out and they had to point us in they had to get pointed in our direction.
Yeah. You don't think Elias just like ratted us out like that.
Yeah. And also I would just like to explain my line of thinking. He wants answers from this Snake Lady, but he doesn't know what answers he wants. He doesn't know what questions to ask because he doesn't know what's going on, and he doesn't, frankly, think either of you do either, and he knows Sasha doesn't. So he wants to take this snake lady to somebody who knows what's going on. But I've been thinking about it, and now that I've been thinking about it, I would like to roleplay this, but I want to suggest that we go to my small hours boss instead. I think we take this snake lady to small hours. And remind me how my boss's name is pronounced, please, Tara?
Enkuna.
Enkuna.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And I will bring up one small thing that, like, if you want to do this, you absolutely can, but you should, like, think out the logistics of this. How are you going to drag an unconscious Yuan-Ti woman through the city?
I have a bag of holding, Tara, which can hold a person in it for 10 minutes.
Can't breathe, right?
They can survive. They can survive for 10 minutes, divided by the number of living creatures in there. Or we could just pop her head out of it. Put the body in, pop the head out.
You have a cloak we could toss over you, right?
Yeah, toss a cloak
Before
over
we
me.
discuss this, can we all agree that that's what we're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, no, of course not. I'm just saying that if you want to logistically,
Yeah.
we have a way to do it.
Okay. Like my goal here is to get an idea of what to do so that when we start the next episode, we don't spend another 20 minutes like role playing, hey guys, what should we do? We can just go do it.
Yeah. I'm saying that no matter where we decide to take her, we have a way to get her there.
Okay.
All right, and I'll be honest with you. Sym is going to have a problem with that. He has no problem with Enkuna, but if we're going to take her to anybody's boss, he actually would probably prefer we take her to Red.
I suggested that, and you turned it down. Still,
I
said
honestly
that if you
do
don't
not
trust
remember.
Elias, it might have been. I don't know if it.
No, it was. I remember.
I think we were all just arguing.
The idea of going to Madame Red did come up, and I'm not sure if it was Sym or Bates who was saying she was a little weird about stuff. So maybe we don't trust her either. But I think maybe you're just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Right.
Well, I was trying to get y'all to trust somebody at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was very much spaghetti at the wall.
I'm really glad we're talking about this because I was kind of assuming that this was like we were getting into like X card territory where you were worried that if we interrogated her ourselves that like we were going to do the torture thing, which is so common in D&D to get people to talk.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like check in and be like, so if that's the thing, we can all agree as players, we won't go there. We can like avoid having to play an X card. I mean, it's an X card debate. I actually don't want to torture anyone either. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were giving me a look like, but torture is fun.
No, I am so good with not having any torture in the game. I'd like that would be great. Not like it's not an X card for me, but it would be something that I wouldn't feel comfortable putting on the feed without a trigger warning at the front of it, and like I know that some people would not listen to that episode.
Knocking somebody in the back of the head to knock them back out so we can carry them somewhere without them screaming is very much different than like torturing, and I would not do that at all.
No.
So, just from my perspective, no matter what you guys choose to do, there is a way forward from that. I've got you covered. You know, it may not be exactly the thing you expect, but like there will be a way forward. So whatever you guys like end up choosing to do, go for it.
I'm an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Gray, we're both idiots.
Why are we both idiots?
Hello. We've both been playing like D&D or Pathfinder or something for how many years? We know very well there are ways to get people to talk without torture.
Nobody here has Zone of Truth, do they? Do you have Zone of Truth stocked?
You don't necessarily need to have it. It's called, we stash her somewhere and get a scroll.
Where are we going to put her?
I can cast Zone of Truth if you let me take it out.
Okay. Where are we gonna put her, and what are you gonna ask her? I don't even know where we're supposed to be asking. Like, I don't know anything about this government agency. I want to go take her to somebody who knows something.
I don't trust anyone that knows
My
something.
concern about, and this is just Bates saying this, Bates' concern about actually taking her anywhere and not questioning her ourselves is we're still not going to learn anything.
Yeah. So let me sort of recap the things that you should know. And I was going to give you this in character, but I'll give you this out of character as well. So the things that you that like have already been set up that may just like not have hit in one way or the other are that like she is responsible for hiring the people who have been doing all the muggings in the red light district. So that's one line of questioning you can take. Another thing, actually, I'm gonna pay this off right at the start of the next episode, so maybe I just save it for that. But there's another connection that's about to be made as well that you'll be able to ask her about, and I'll. It sounds like you're struggling for direction, so I'll make sure that happens like right at the start of the episode. Yeah.
Okay. If there's any boss that I would trust, it's probably Incuna right now. Because he seems like he knows what's going on. He clearly has a place like that cares about the community because he has these meetings. And like he was the one who's seems to be like willing to give us the most information. I understand why Sym would trust Red more because she's your boss, but
well, and you know, she's also basically like a mom to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What?
But
¿Por qué no los dos?
Why not do both?
Why not both?
Sym goes and gets Madame Red, and then we
drag her into the
small
basement.
hours.
Drag her into the basement at the small hours and go get Madame Red and bring her over.
Plan.
All right. How do we say that in character?
If that's what we're going for, we can just say that in character at the start of the next episode.
How do you feel about that, Georgeanna?
Yeah, I guess it works if we're there too. I just.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to insist that all of us are in the room.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what was the second half of what you said, Georgeanna? I'm sorry, there were rude people cutting you off.
Sorry, my bad.
Storytelling standpoint, like, let's be all narcissistic. We're the fucking PCs.
Mm-hmm.
And this plan will involve Tara having to interrogate herself. She's great at doing the voices. She can probably do it.
Yeah.
But it's like, the four of us, I guess, will just sit there and react. And that doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
So this plan involves... This plan involves me finding ways to bring you back into the scene. So, like, I have been going over conversations between these NPCs in my head forever. I don't need to play those out. What I need to do is engage you in the scene somehow. And, like, yes, the NPCs will be there, and they'll be there, and they will be the, like, powerful presences in the room that they are. But you're the PCs, so like it's on me to not take the spotlight. You know, it's on me to like if I'm playing Gandalf, the DM PC, it's my job to go fuck off for a while you have your adventure. So like
says the one person in the group who actually is in a band.
Like I absolutely understand where you're coming from, Georgeanna. Like you're right. It's entirely possible that this could be a scene where like I just play with myself and you have to sit there and listen, and that wouldn't be fun for anyone. So I'm gonna try to be very cognizant of that.
Like, so if you're gonna be bringing us back into it. That means instead of us getting to side questions, it's almost like you're going to be like, Jana, ask about this. And in case you guys haven't picked up, here's some self-critique that it was 3 items to go on the agenda. I respond very badly to Georgeanna, do this thing. Georgeanna, say a thing. And feel like that's what the scene is going to get turned into, where instead of us as a group coming up with questions, we'll have to come up with questions, figure out a way to get us involved in the questions, and it just, I don't know, it sounds like a lot of work and like
Well, that wasn't
exceeding control of the story.
that wasn't exactly what I was foreseeing either. I'm like, I'm either way you're going to end up interrogating her. You're going to end up like coming up with the question. Like, it's going to be your scene. It's not going to be me directing you in, your scene. Go ahead, Bates.
So, what about a bit of a compromise here? What if we were to take her across the street to the abandoned building first, have our own little interrogation with her before we take her back? That way, when we go back and talk with Red and Incuna, the characters would have at least some information to bring forward, and that way they might be able to further an understanding beyond that, instead of them just starting from the ground up.
And nodding. It just occurred to me that you can't see me. But yeah, that sounds good with me. What do you think, Ray?
That works.
Okay. CJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I did have a thought. I apologize.
go for
I
it.
was listening / reading / being. So here's my only concern. So we are going to bring her to the abandoned place, wake her up, interrogate her, and then deal with her being conscious and squirming to take her to the basement of the small hours. Like, that just seems like and hear me out, wouldn't it be easier to just transport from point A to point B? Or am I crazy and not thinking properly? You can tell me if I'm crazy and not thinking properly.
We might have a little bit of an issue. We might have a little bit of an issue knocking her back out unless we have a magical way to do it, or we are just going to have to keep fucking hitting her in the back of the head.
Which eventually is going to cause problems. I'm not going to let you just like keep braining her, but you can do it a few more times.
Why don't we interrogate her and then have one of us go and get Red and Incuna and bring them here? If they don't want to come, that's on them. Like, whoever we send will make proper explanations of who we've got. When
do you think Incuna will let me use... Do I have keys to the bar? Sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you.
Yeah, probably. You probably have keys to the small hours at this point, yeah.
Rose, please continue. I mean, Georgeanna, my bad.
It's okay. I think I kind of finished my point, but yeah, we can have her in the abandoned building and send someone for Red and Incuna, or scroll to them, or send to them message order wise. I don't know what spells you have, Bates. Not too worried about her, because like when she comes to, she's gonna have like a couple of hit points, right? Like, it's not like she's magically healed.
Well, if anything, I'd be concerned about her transforming and, fucking right off and running away.
Lock her in a basement
with like a hit point. I don't know how this race works, but Rose might know, depending on how knowledgeable she is and other people.
Why don't we go lock her in a basement and find out?
And in building, have a basement for us to lock her in. Or are you talking about the small hours?
The small hours.
I would assume that the abandoned building also has a basement, and if not, like, why not lock her on the first floor? I'm not sure what the difference
we could always
is.
lock her in the manager's office.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I think you asked if there was a basement. I think there was a perception check in the abandoned restaurant, and no basement was found, but the perception checks were...
Isn't that a bad perception check?
Yeah, but there was the office with the conveniently placed desk. You could probably figure out how to lock that.
She's going to wonder where all the stains came from.
I mean, that and the splinters. I still think that desk was not still standing when we found
it. It is up to whatever place y'all want to take her to.
Yeah, and
I just think we should probably get out of this building that we are in, because the people who work here will come back.
Yes.
That is a definite hells to the yes.
Yeah.
And whatever you decide to do, please rest assured that like this is your story and you are the main characters of it. And like it's your decisions that will be like consequential to that story, and not like if ever you feel like a spectator in your own story, that's a problem for me, and that's something I'm doing wrong. So, you know, whatever happens, I mean to make it your story. So, sorry, I'm also playing with the laser pointer for my cat, but I'm like distracting myself with it because I'm watching it.
I was going to say, because you are the cat.
You are a fucking
Kind of
cat.
am.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a transvian cat girl, and polycule kill me.
Uh-huh. You are a walking stereotype. Congratulations.
I need to buy programmer socks. Anyway, is there anything else we want to talk about before we get out of here and start actually playing some magical... Oh, wait, no. Magical Cards is the other game I play. Before we start rolling some bones, I guess?
I have some magic.
I love you guys. I love you. You're great to play with. I'm glad we get to do this.
Absolutely seconded.
If JJ's a dick,
Great.
you don't take it personally.
Hell yeah.
Nope. And if Sym is a bit of a cold bastard, well, that's just Sym.
That's how it is. Well, I think we're done talking for this episode. This was long enough to be a full-length episode, so listeners, we will see you next week for the thrilling continuation. Gosh, I can't wait.
Dun.
But yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Thank you all for being here. And see you next week. If you liked what you heard, be sure to check the show notes for links to all of our social media platforms and our Discord server. We love feedback, so don't hesitate to get in touch. Until next time, fare thee well, adventurers.